Scarborough Shoal is more than just a scattering of rocks and reefs in the vast expanse of the South China Sea. It's a strategic flashpoint, a place where geography and geopolitics collide, drawing the attention of regional powers and the world. Located just 124 nautical miles from Luzon, Scarborough Shoal lies well within the Philippines' exclusive economic zone. For generations, it has served as a vital fishing ground and a safe haven for local communities, providing food, livelihood, and shelter from storms. The waters here teem with marine life, making them essential for the survival of thousands of Filipino families. But its significance extends far beyond fishing and local livelihoods. Whoever controls the shoal can monitor and potentially control maritime and air traffic in one of the world's busiest and most important shipping lanes. Every year, trillions of dollars worth of goods pass through these waters, connecting Asia, the Middle East, and Europe. Control here means not just economic influence over global trade, but also the ability to project military power deep into the region, shaping the balance of power in the Indo-Pacific. The dispute between the Philippines and China is about more than territory. It's about national pride, economic rights, and the ability of nations to stand up for their people and their future. At stake is also the future of international law in the Indo-Pacific, as global institutions and treaties are tested by competing claims and rising tensions. Scarborough Shoal has become a powerful symbol of the broader South China Sea conflict, a place where history, law, and power collide in a high-stakes contest. For the Philippines, it's a test of sovereignty and a fight to protect the rights of its people. For China, it's a key part of its sweeping nine-line claim, representing its ambitions to expand influence and secure resources. The unresolved standoff keeps the shoal a potential trigger for regional conflict, a flashpoint where a single miscalculation could spark a much larger crisis in the heart of Asia. The Philippines claims Scarborough Shoal based on geography and international law. It's within their EEZ as defined by UNCLOS. Historical maps and legal arguments reinforce Manila's position. China, meanwhile, asserts ancient discovery and administration, citing old maps and records to justify its claim under the nine-line. This clash, modern law versus historical narrative, came to a head in 2012, when a standoff left China in de facto control of the shoal. The Philippines responded by taking China to international arbitration, winning a 2016 ruling that invalidated China's nine-line and affirmed traditional fishing rights. China rejected the ruling, maintaining its presence and restricting Filipino fishermen. The 2012 standoff marked a turning point, solidifying China's grip and escalating the dispute. The legal victory for the Philippines remains unenforced, fueling ongoing tension. China's recent proposal to create a nature reserve at Scarborough Shoal is framed as environmental protection. On the surface, it's about conserving coral reefs and marine life. But Manila and others see it as a strategic move to legitimize China's control. Establishing a reserve would mean more Chinese vessels and possibly permanent structures, all under the guise of conservation. These facilities could serve both scientific and military purposes, deepening China's hold. This tactic, using environmentalism to assert sovereignty, mirrors China's approach elsewhere in the South China Sea. By branding its actions as ecological stewardship, China reframes the dispute while tightening its grip. The proposal blurs the line between conservation and control, making it harder for the Philippines to push back without seeming anti-environment. The Philippines swiftly rejected China's nature reserve plan, calling it a violation of sovereignty and international law. Officials labeled the proposal a cover for permanent occupation, pointing to China's own destructive fishing and land reclamation elsewhere. Manila's response: internationalize the issue, rally allies, and invoke the 2016 arbitral ruling as the legal foundation for its claim. The Philippines has increased patrols and support for its fishermen, documenting Chinese activities and publicizing harassment. This assertive transparency strategy aims to expose China's actions and keep the dispute in the global spotlight. While avoiding direct confrontation, the Philippines is determined to challenge China's control and defend its rights. The standoff remains active, unresolved, and highly visible on the world stage. China's proposal to establish a nature reserve at Scarborough Shoal is not just an environmental initiative. It carries far-reaching geopolitical consequences that ripple across the region and beyond. By framing its actions as conservation, China seeks to legitimize its presence and strengthen its territorial claims, raising concerns among neighboring countries and the international community. For the United States, which maintains a long-standing defense treaty with the Philippines, China's move is a direct challenge. It tests American resolve and credibility in the region, potentially drawing the U.S. deeper into the dispute. Increased U.S. naval patrols and joint military exercises with the Philippines signal Washington's commitment but also risk escalating tensions with Beijing. Within ASEAN, the dispute has exposed divisions. While some member states like Vietnam and Malaysia share Manila's concerns about China's growing assertiveness, others are more cautious, wary of jeopardizing economic ties with Beijing or provoking a confrontation. The ongoing tensions are increasing pressure on ASEAN to finalize a binding code of conduct for the South China Sea, a long-sought agreement that could help manage disputes and prevent conflict, but negotiations remain slow and complex. Meanwhile, regional powers such as Japan, Australia, and India view the situation at Scarborough Shoal as a critical test of China's ambitions. In response, they have stepped up security cooperation and joint naval exercises with the Philippines, signaling a broader coalition to counterbalance Beijing's influence. If China succeeds in normalizing its control over the shoal, it could set a dangerous precedent, one that disregards international law and emboldens similar actions in other contested waters, undermining global norms and legal frameworks. The outcome of this dispute will not only affect the immediate parties involved, but also shape the broader security architecture of the Indo-Pacific. It will influence the future of global maritime governance, freedom of navigation, and the stability of vital shipping lanes that support the world economy. Ultimately, Scarborough Shoal has become a litmus test for the rules-based order in Asia, challenging the international community to uphold principles of sovereignty, law, and peaceful resolution in one of the world's most strategically important regions. At its core, the Scarborough Shoal dispute is about sovereignty, modern law versus historical claims. The Philippines relies on UNCLOS and the 2016 arbitral ruling, viewing any foreign activity as an infringement on its rights. China, citing centuries-old records and the 9-dash line, sees its actions as rightful administration of its territory. The Nature Reserve proposal is a new front in this sovereignty contest, with China performing acts of state administration to shift the status quo. For Manila, it's a creeping invasion. For Beijing, it's an assertion of historic rights. Both sides see their claims as absolute, making compromise nearly impossible. Any action, no matter how benign, becomes a zero-sum contest for control. This deadlock keeps tensions high and the risk of escalation ever present. China's recent proposal to establish a nature reserve in the South China Sea is being presented to the world as a bold act of environmental stewardship, a move that, on the surface, appears to prioritize the protection of fragile marine ecosystems and biodiversity. However, this narrative is met with widespread skepticism, as China's credibility is deeply undermined by a well-documented history of ecological destruction in the very same waters it now claims to protect. Over the past decade, large-scale island-building projects and destructive fishing practices by Chinese fleets have devastated once-thriving coral reefs, leaving behind scars on the marine environment that may take generations to heal. These actions have fueled international skepticism about Beijing's true motives, with many experts and neighboring countries questioning whether conservation is the real goal. For the Philippines, the Scarborough Shoal is far more than a disputed territory. It is a vital resource, a source of livelihood, and a cherished part of the nation's cultural heritage. Local fishermen have practiced sustainable fishing methods here for generations, passing down knowledge and respect for the sea from parent to child. But China's ongoing blockade and aggressive patrols have severely hurt Filipino livelihoods, leaving many families struggling as their access to traditional fishing grounds is cut off. Meanwhile, reports of destructive Chinese fishing, such as the illegal harvesting of giant clams and further reef damage, continue to surface, raising alarms among environmentalists and local communities alike. The paradox is striking. The very nation accused of widespread environmental destruction now claims to be the region's chief conservationist. This tactic not only complicates regional diplomacy, but also forces Manila into the difficult position of having to oppose a so-called green initiative in order to defend its sovereignty and the rights of its people. In this context, environmental issues are no longer just about conservation. they have become powerful tools in a much larger geopolitical struggle for territory and influence. The line between genuine conservation efforts and strategic maneuvering is increasingly blurred, making it difficult to discern true intentions. Today, the language of ecology is wielded as a weapon, shaping narratives and influencing international opinion in the ongoing contest for control of the South China Sea. The world's response to the Scarborough Shoal dispute is mixed: concern, support for the Philippines, and cautious neutrality. The U.S. leads in backing Manila, condemning China's actions and conducting joint patrols to uphold international law. Allies like Japan, Australia, and the UK echo these concerns, increasing cooperation with the Philippines but stopping short of direct intervention. Southeast Asian reactions are split. Vietnam quietly supports Manila, while others balance security worries with economic ties to China. ASEAN's internal divisions limit its collective response, while the EU supports UNCLOS but is constrained by its own economic interests. This fragmented global stance allows China to press its claims with limited pushback. Despite diplomatic support, the Philippines faces an uphill battle in shifting the status quo. The divided stage gives Beijing room to maneuver, prolonging the dispute. The future of Scarborough Shoal remains uncertain, demanding careful strategy from all sides. The Philippines must resist China's creeping control without provoking conflict, relying on legal victories, alliances, and assertive transparency. China's unilateral actions risk regional isolation, but have so far cemented its presence. A sustainable solution would require genuine dialogue, perhaps joint management that respects Philippine rights under UNCLOS. Revitalizing negotiations for a binding code of conduct is critical, with major powers playing a supporting role. Realistically, managed tension will persist, with the Philippines challenging China through legal and diplomatic means. The risk of accidental escalation remains high, making crisis management and communication essential. Scarborough Shoal will continue to define the Indo-Pacific security landscape for years to come.